definite catalyst for the business.
It's busy season for these household names, but have you ever looked up their stock?
It's a penny stock. It's trading even right now at around $2.44.
Some of these very recognizable consumer stocks may be small, but now that it's their busy season, both insiders and analysts are bullish.
They made 10 separate buys since mid-May. Something has to be up there.
MarketBeat's Chris Marcotte shares his list of 3 seasonal picks. Could they be the boost your portfolio needs this summer? Let's dive in. Chris, so great to have you back on the show. It is summer and it's a holiday, so a lot of people are taking a long weekend to do all the summer things. But the stock market, these businesses are still going all summer long, and there's still some money to be made this summer, especially in some of those industries. So let's talk a little bit about which industries might get a little boost over the summer season specifically.
This article is kind of a fun one to put together because my hypothesis was that some of these stocks are summer stocks, as we might think of them, and they would get a catalyst in the summer just because it was summer. However, when I started getting into the article, I realized that all 3 of these stocks have strong insider buying, which that's kind of interesting because that suggests that the stocks actually could have another reason beyond just the fact that it's beyond just seasonal factors for going higher. And that's what I was looking at here.
And those are all some good indicators. I want to talk a little bit before we get to your list of 3 hot summer buys. Let's just talk about what the stock market generally does in the summer. What do we normally see just from investors over the summer season?
You generally see lower trading volume, and that's because institutional investors, well, quite simply, they take vacation and they're away from their trading desks, and there's just usually less volume, which means there's less liquidity, and it just means that stocks tend to be a little bit more range bound in the summer. Some stocks will shoot up a little bit, they'll come down a little bit, traders will take profits here and there. We do have earnings season coming up starting in mid-July, and that may be a catalyst for some action. But in general, summer tends to be a slower time for stocks in terms of volume.
Yeah, I think June in particular, like you said, there isn't an earnings season right now. There's a break from most
Right.
earnings reports. And so it's kind of that season of vacations and people not paying as much attention to the stock market. But all those vacations do help boost some business for several companies out there. And that is where this list takes us today. So let's dive into the first name on your list of 3 stocks that are really having some strong indicators this summer.
Yeah, so my first stock on the list is Topgolf Callaway. Ticker symbol there is MODG. Now, the story here has not been a really good one for investors. The Callaway Golf Company decided to merge with Topgolf, and that's why you have the names came together, Topgolf Callaway. The problem is that Topgolf, which is an exciting thing to go to if you've ever been to one, it's been a drag on the company's earnings, and a lot of that is just the fact that scaling up the franchise has been difficult. And even though the business is like we're 15 years into Topgolf, it just doesn't significantly contribute to Callaway's earnings and free cash flow. It's a drag on the business. So that's where this story starts, Bridget. Topgolf Callaway announced a little while ago that they're separating the 2 companies. So Callaway is going to spin off about 80% of its Topgolf business, and the belief is that these 2 companies may do better as separate entities. And coincidentally, I noticed that a director of Topgolf Callaway made 5 separate buys of MODG stock between June 4th and June 10th. That coincided with the company posting a surprise profit in the earnings report that they delivered in May, and all of that has analysts raising their price targets. The stock now has a consensus price target of about $10.33. That would give investors an upside of around 30% when my article was written, and that's probably about true today. The stock's gone up a little bit, about 8% since I wrote the article, but it's still got some nice upside ahead of it if investors want to get into it.
All a lot of really interesting facts to dive into
Yeah,
there. The company story is interesting about the combining of the two and the impact of Top
right.
Golf. But both Callaway and Top Golf, you know that in the summer they get more traffic. They definitely have a lot of their business in this season right now. You think that contributed to the insider buying? I think it's just interesting for investors to look at what could be moving some of the top executives at this company to be buying into this stock right now.
It's hard to say that the directors were motivated by seasonal factors. I think it was probably more the idea that investors aren't bullish enough on the fact that these companies are gonna separate. However, having said that, yes, summer is a definite catalyst for the business in terms of the Topgolf franchise. If Topgolf's in a northern location, let's just say, yeah, it's it the places are almost unoperational in the wintertime. So now is a great time for people to get out there. It makes a really good place to go for, bachelor parties, bachelorette parties. And so this would be a good time for the company seasonally, but I'm not necessarily sure that's why the insider was making those buys.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely seems like more of the insider buy is related to the operational business moves that you said. Like separating is going to be a huge move for this company. I'd love to take a look at the chart as well. I think this one is down a little bit from the highs it's seen, so it seems like it could be a good opportunity stock as well.
The stock's down significantly from where it was, even 5 years ago. It kinda peaked a little bit in 2021 as the nation was kind of reopening things, but it's slumped since then. And again, it's just been difficult for Top Golf as a franchise to scale up. It's just it's not just it's not just a tricked out driving range. It's a restaurant. It's got all those costs associated with it. It's an expensive proposition. However, what I've noticed is, as I said, since I wrote the article, the stock's up about 8%. We're taping this on the 19th. It closed on the 18th a little down, slightly below its 50-day moving average, and but the idea is the stock's right around that 50-day moving average, and if it can break above that, that could be a bullish signal that the stock might have more to run, and that's certainly what analysts believe.
An interesting first company and one most viewers have probably heard of before. It's trading around a little over $8 and it's actually the most expensive stock on this list you have for us today. The next two names are going to be names you've also definitely heard of in your house. Their stocks are really quite tiny. If you're looking for some other stocks that are maybe more mainstream, larger company names, we have a different list for you there too. You can scan this QR code right now. It's just for our YouTube viewers to get free access to one of our latest premium articles that's all about the 5 hottest stocks for this summer. It's another list that analysts really love. If you want to take a look at that list for free right now, again, just scan the QR code or click the link in the description of this video to read that article and check out the 5 stocks on that list too. Chris, let's get to the second company on your list. This is definitely one a lot of people have heard of and are using this summer.
Sure, the second company I have on the list now, this is a penny stock, and it's Traeger. The ticker symbol is Cook, COOK. So the company went public in 2021. Not surprisingly, like a lot of companies at the time, the stock shot higher because basically investors, especially meme stock investors, were looking at anything that was going public and they were thinking, okay, this is going to be a great stock. It's going to be a millionaire maker stock. And they dove in. But Cook has dropped off significantly since then. And one of the reasons, again, just has to do with economic factors, higher interest rates, inflation. It's just it's impacted the company's revenue and earnings because are consumers going to be looking to buy or upgrade their grilling equipment in an environment like this? The housing market also plays into this. If you're not buying new homes, you don't have the reason to buy the new grill to go with the new home. So there's a lot of headwinds affecting the stock. However, the company in its last earnings report, it said its net margins are expanding and it raised its full year revenue and earnings guidance, which is significant, not only because the broader macroeconomic picture isn't necessarily working in their favor, But this is also we're getting into Traeger's strongest season. We just had Father's Day just passed, but we're getting into the 4th of July coming up, and you've just got the whole summer season, which is synonymous with outdoor cooking and barbecuing and all that. So Traeger looks like this could be an opportunity for the stock. That certainly seems to be the opinion of the CEO, Jeremy Andrus. He's made 4 separate buys of Cook stock between June 2nd and June 6th, and analysts give the stock a price target of $2.44. That's a 33% increase from the price it was, I know when I wrote the article. So, a couple of things to think about here, Bridget, is the company is not profitable yet. So it went public in 2021. It still isn't turning a consistent profit. That would be an area of concern for investors, but it's a penny stock. It's trading right now at $1.86. So for risk tolerant investors, it might be a stock that's worth looking at, even if you're just looking at a swing trade for the summer.
Yeah, this is an interesting stock story because it's a name, a brand name that many consumers would know. Maybe you're a big Traeger fan yourself and you use the
Right.
product, you interact with it, so maybe you want to look at the stock. Is it surprising to you that a company that is so specific and so
Right.
niche would be trading at a volume of this low? What would it take for this type of industry to get bigger? And how big can a very, specific company like this actually get?
That's a great question, actually, Bridget, because it leads into this point that I think Traeger's a really good example of a company being different than a stock. I think you're absolutely right. Everybody that I know that owns a Traeger loves it. They swear by it. They're constantly showing pictures on Facebook and different social media platforms of what they cooked on their Traeger. It's wonderful. But number 1, these tend to be long-term purchases. These products are gonna last a while, so once you buy it once, you're probably not gonna be buying a lot. You may buy some accessories and different things, but you're not gonna be making that one grill purchase is probably something that's gonna last you a while. But I think it's really the macroeconomic conditions are just weighing in on it. Again, the stock had the misfortune, I would say, of going public right at the time when interest rates went from historically low levels to now they're not historically high levels, but they're certainly higher than a generation of people have been used to with being where they are. And, that coupled with the fact that inflation's gotten sticky, there's people who are a little bit more concerned about their job. And, the Fed now is indicating that they're gonna take their time as far as lowering interest rates. So there's just a lot of factors, but again, CEO is bullish about the company, so that means he believes the stock's oversold and is not being valued correctly. It's trading at about $1.86. So again, if you're an investor, you're looking for a swing trade this summer, Traeger might be a really good option. It might have fallen into that area where it's just too cheap to ignore right now.
Yeah, interesting one for
Yeah.
investors to consider. All right, let's move on to the third and final stock that is seeing a little boost this summer.
Yeah, so again, this stock's up a little bit since I wrote the article, but it's 1-800-Flowers.com. Um, Again, this stock is just out of penny stock territory. It's trading at around $5.16. Some people would still consider it a penny stock. The obvious headwind for this stock over the past few years is just competition. This is a huge space, Bridget. This company faces competition not only from brick and mortar retailers, but certainly from online retailers. Consumers have a lot of different options for not only sending flowers, but sending other gifts, and that's the pressure that 1-800-Flowers faces. So that's the bad news. So what is the interesting news? Well, the interesting news is that, once again, there's a major shareholder called Fund One Investments. They made 10 separate buys in of the stock since mid-May, and analysts are giving the stock a price target of $7.50, which is an upside of around 42% in the stock. Something has to be up there. I think some of it may be the fact that the company is, making investments in artificial intelligence to help streamline their operations. We don't necessarily like to talk about that because we know that there's a flip side to that, which means they're probably cutting staff, but the whole idea is they're probably getting their bottom line strengthened, which will help mitigate revenue risk, and it could be why the CEO says this stock is a buy. We could also probably say We just got done with Father's Day. We had Mother's Day a month ago, and we're in prime wedding season. So, what are occasions where people are going to be buying flowers or doing other kinds of gifting? That would be the kind of thing.
Yeah, very interesting company because it's been around for such a
Yeah,
long time. But like you said, there's a lot of different factors that impact it. And not just this one,
right.
but all three of the companies we mentioned. I feel like consumer sentiment and what's going on in the economy has to do a lot with the bottom line of these companies. Do you think some of the confidence from these insiders for 1-800-Flowers is that they're feeling some strength in consumer sentiment? We might have been concerned early on in the year, but that consumer spending is still out there.
In the case of 1-800-Flowers, I think that might be true because one thing that we've seen throughout all of this is that the consumer has remained remarkably strong, especially at a higher income level. And we saw it through Christmas, and I think you're probably gonna see it through something like a wedding season, is people are still gonna be inclined to spend to give those gifts and to do that, and 1-800-Flowers is a still it's a name brand, it's some place that investors are consumers are familiar with, and the stock, like I said, is priced right around $5. The technical trend shows that it's trading at what looks like it's oversold right now, so there could be an opportunity here. Again, I'm not saying any of the stocks we're talking about today are long-term buys, but if you're an investor and you're looking at the summer and saying, "Where might I be able to look for some swing trades?" Again, 1-800-Flowers looks like a pretty good option. Like all the stocks that we've been talking about today, this one closed down a little bit lower yesterday, and it's slightly below its 50-day moving average, but that's an important technical level for investors, and if the stock can pop above that, that may indicate we have some bullish momentum going on.
I love all of these picks today because they are different than what we normally talk about. We talk about a lot of long-term buys or really heavy volume stocks. These are smaller companies that just have some lower prices with some catalysts happening this summer and insider buying, all good signals that there could be some good news in the short term anyway on the horizon. Chris, thank you so much for your time today. Let us know what you think about these companies. Are you in any of these smaller stocks? Are you interested in smaller stocks like this? Or are you sticking to more of those big tech companies? We like to know what you're interested in most, so let us know in the comments. And if you are not a subscriber to this channel yet, please hit subscribe. We'd love to have you follow along and join us for all of our content. We talk about a lot of different kinds of stocks, including some swing stocks just like these. Thanks for joining us, everyone, and as always, happy investing.